Hello and welcome into the latest edition of ESPN FC. Kay Maureen, Alejandro Moreno here in the studio. Lots to talk about today, starting with the Premier League title race where things are heating up after Arsenal have just 2 wins from their last 7 matches in what's been a bit of a wobble at the top of the Premier League table. We want to hear from Mikel Arteta and what he's had to say about things after their latest draw.
Does it raise question marks about the mentality within the team? Because out there tonight, it looked as if they were struggling under the pressure, under the expectation. You know, you're out there to go 7 points clear.
I think any question, any criticize, any opinion, you have to take it on the chin today. I mean, that's it. Any hit, any bullet, take it, because we didn't perform at the level that is required. So anything that anybody says can be right because we didn't do what we had to do. And the way to do it is on that pitch on Sunday in a great opportunity that we had.
And that was 2 draws, as you can see there. Then came the loss to Manchester United. Then we saw back-to-back wins at Leeds and against Sunderland. But then it's been 2 draws once again, including yesterday's 2-2 result. And in both of those draws as well, they gave up a lead. And next up for them, it is the North London derby at Spurs. So tricky times for Mikel Arteta's men right now. Jan Fjørtoft, Frank Leboeuf and Kieran Gibbs. Kieran Gibbs joining us right now.
Welcome.
And he's got a smile on his face.
Do you feel the pressure?
Yes, Kieran.
Go
Do you
easy,
feel the
go
pressure?
easy. Go easy on me today, guys. Please.
Yeah.
I'm already going through it. Yes, definitely starting to feel the pressure. There's no hiding that. It's a big blow. It's a big blow. I think psychologically more than anything. And listen, when you cross the white line, there's never a guarantee that you're going to leave with 3 points. That's the first thing that you learn, especially when you play in the Premier League. But I think more than anything, I think it's the manner in which they're just dropping these points. Those little moments, lapses in communication, concentration, being below the technical standards that they set themselves, and it's that poor game management at the moment that's letting them down. I think the game management is a big one because you're going to always have mistakes. You always have these moments in football. They're going to go against you. They're going to go for you. But no disrespect to Wolves. I think they've conceded 16 goals. I think this season. Sorry, scored 16 goals, and we've conceded 4 of them. But I think on top of that, what's more worrying is that we've conceded 18 goals and 4 of them we've conceded against Wolves. And this is the best defense in Europe. So it doesn't even sound right. It doesn't really make sense. It's I've never seen a team that has so many reasons as to why they should win the league at the same time as starting to have many reasons why they shouldn't. So they're kind of like a big oxymoron at the moment, and it's hard to put your finger on it. But there's still a lot more to come from this team. So I'm like, I still have faith.
Jan, how would you put your finger on it?
I will put my finger on it that the 2 draws were a bit different because the game at Brentford, I was there. That was one of the most intense game I've seen for a long time. That was a great football game. Arsenal were on it. There were set pieces. They were battling for it. And at the end, they should have won it with Martinelli when he was on his own there, 1 against the goalkeeper. What was interesting with the game against Wolves is that everything went for Arsenal. They got an early 1-0, calmed the nerves, and they were unbelievable, much better than Wolverhampton in the first half. I mean, that was amazing how much better they were in the first half. But how they then can take themselves down to that level that they have in the second half, it's beyond me to understand.
So is it coming down to a strength of personality here for this Arsenal team, LA?
I will tell you this much, Kay. I've been saying all along that when you compare both teams, and really it's the only teams that you can compare to each other in the Premier League, Arsenal, I think, much like Jan, Arsenal should be better than Manchester City. And let's not forget, while Arsenal have had this struggle, it's not like Manchester City have been perfect. Had Manchester City been close to perfect in this same run of games, they would be top of the league already, but they've dropped points themselves. I look at Arsenal, and yesterday was the first time the first time this whole season in which I said, uh-oh, because much like the guys, much like Kieran, much like Frank, much like Jan, you're looking at the expression of the players, you're looking at the performance on the field, you're looking at how they're closing down the match, and you kind of go, it seems like they're afraid. It seems like they're not certain as to what they need to be doing on the field. It seems like they're the ones having questions against Wolves. And they're having questions. And that, well, it's a scary place to be if you're an Arsenal fan because it makes you think of all the bad things that could happen. But if I am to give a semblance of positivity to Arsenal fans, is Manchester City have issues as well. You're still ahead, and Manchester City is far from perfect.
But if you're thinking about all the bad things that could happen, you could also, Frank, start thinking about all the bad things that have happened when you've been leading in the title race and a team called Manchester City have actually overtaken you in those seasons and won the title. Does Wednesday's draw up imagery of that happening once again?
Are you talking to me? Sorry,
yes,
Kay,
Frank.
that was for me.
Yes,
okay,
Frank.
okay. That's something. Sorry, that's something you have to take. You have to take in a very big importance in a way that we have seen in the past, and we saw Liverpool struggling last season, and we saw people, pushing you to the corner and trying to destabilize you, and we saw that. We saw that it's possible to any teams, even the best team in England, which Arsenal is right now, they can change their mind because they get fragile and because they feel the pressure. It's why we love that game. It's because it's a human being game where everything goes into details, and the pressure that you get can take something out of you, and that's absolutely crazy.
I think if I was to pick any holes in that, it would probably be, I feel like Jurriën Timber's played a lot of football, and I think he might be due a rest. You got Ben White waiting behind you, who's perfectly capable. He knows, how to play at this level, and has done great for Arsenal since he signed. So maybe there's that. Listen, they still have had an alarming amount of injuries, so even though their squad is deep, I would like to think where they would be if they didn't have such a big squad this season. But I think he's rotated his front kind of 4 or 5. I think he's rotated them pretty well. But yeah, in terms of where they're lacking at the moment, you have to say it's goals conceded. I think they've conceded 8 goals so far this year, and they've only conceded 18 goals in the whole season. So it's clear that that's where the issue is at the moment, and we just don't associate them with that because of this kind of back 5, back 6, with Rice in there. They just don't concede many, and that's where you're seeing their numbers increase at the moment with conceding goals. So maybe there's something that needs to be done. Maybe there's something that needs to be done there. But I think that's tongue in cheek, to be honest. I still think that you gotta bounce off of this, as quick as you can. I think it's going to sting, but there's no doubt that they have got it in them at this point of the season. They just have to, as Mikel said, they have to go through this pain barrier now and use that pain and turn it into positive performances. It's easier said than done. And listen, criticism is always the price of ambition. So they're gonna have to take what comes with being ambitious. They're trying to achieve what no team has achieved in the Arsenal team for 20 years.
If I were an Arsenal fan right now, I would be very nervous just hearing Kieran's tone of voice. The tension in Kieran's voice, in which he's giving us the analysis, he's giving us the breakdown, but he's giving us hope as well. He's kind of hanging on to hope, but he's concerned about the defending. he can't quite make up his mind. Should I be panicking? Should I be nervous? Or should I be hopeful? And that's, I think, how Arsenal fans feel.
I'm still very hopeful.
But
No,
Jan-
but can I?
Yeah, because
I
Christian as well,
don't-
like come in, but because you've been watching them closely, how are they going to stop this? How are they going to get out of this? What have you noticed?
Well, just to add to what Kieran's saying, because there's a lot of, we can talk about Arteta if he's doing this and doing that, but there's also something called individual tactics. Sometimes that is very underestimated. What do you do on the pitch? In second half, for example, we have to be honest, Declan Rice, I hear about him that he is the biggest general England have had since Winston Churchill. Where was he second half yesterday? I didn't see him. That was a typical game where you need someone there. You need a leader there. And you have two of the best centre halves in the world. In the second half, where were they at that time? I'm not saying anything because he's Norwegian, but I think this is at the time that you need to get Martin Ødegaard back because there's something about the balance in the team. I think they need him back. His injury has not been good for them. But I sometimes, when I see Arsenal yesterday, and that's with Ali yesterday, I saw something yesterday that I didn't think I would see. I saw a team that's mentally broke down in 8-9 players. Reminded me a bit of old Borussia Dortmund. Borussia Dortmund. Remember when Borussia Dortmund got a goal against? 9 players gone mentally under. And that happened to Arsenal yesterday. And that was not a good sight.
Were you supposed to help to be helpful to Kieran in that comment, or you will try to make him panicking after your explanation?
Let's see how Kieran feels about a North London derby at Spurs at the weekend.
I think you got to say it's probably the biggest North London. Well, I'm going to say the second biggest North London derby ever. If we're going to go for magnitude, I think the first has to be, winning the league at White Hart Lane. I'll have to mention that. But second, it's definitely the biggest. It's a great way for them to respond and perform. I would like to think that they have every chance but I said that before the Wolves game, so I don't want to speak too early this week. But yeah, I mean, you're talking about coming up against a team that is in as bad form, if not worse than Wolves. So now is the time to respond, and this is a separate game anyway. This is always a separate game. The North London derby is always a separate game to what's going on in the league. There's other things at stake when it comes to this game on Sunday. So extra special derby this weekend.
Manchester City will be looking to heap that pressure on Arsenal. When you look at the Champions League games, well, the games after in the Premier League, Newcastle have played after a Champions League game. There have been 3 wins, 4 losses and 1 draw. And now comes City. And just to add to this, City are unbeaten in their last 21 Premier League home games against Newcastle and have won each of the last 16. In fact, it's the second longest winning home run versus an opponent in English top flight history. But Kieran Gibbs does not care about the stats.
It's got draw written all over it, Ken. It's got draw written all over it.
How dare you?
To dare is to do. To do is to dare.
Oh my God! So Spurs fan would say, "How dare you?" Really? Come on, Kieran.
Yeah, 1-1 from Kieran. Why are you so positive, Kieran?
Well, I think everyone's said that you still don't really know what you're going to get with City if you was to take their results over the last 10-20 games. So I think Newcastle are in a position where they probably taken a lot of confidence from the FA Cup at the weekend, and they need to get back on track in the league because Eddie Howe's under pressure. Their team is under pressure at the moment, and yeah, I'm hoping for a worldy performance out of nowhere.
There's never been more interest from Kieran in watching Newcastle playing against Karabakh, and anytime they score a goal, yeah, another goal for Newcastle, which then means that of course the legs would be fresh against Manchester City. Arsenal should not be in this position where they're depending upon Kieran putting out there a draw so that Manchester City drops some points so that then Arsenal can get their full points against Spurs and the stress is gone. They should not be in this position. But the stress is here and the stress is not going away, Kieran. Not even if you make it a draw. It's still here.
Jan?
Thank God that Karabakh is just down the road. That was not a long travel for them. But boys, well, girls, we have discussed this many times. This is not a Manchester City back in the seasons where you think, well, we know now if they win the rest of the games, they will win the league. But this is not the Manchester City team that we will trust doing that. We've seen them. What we will know about this late game on Saturday is that Manchester City will allow Newcastle to have goal chances. We know that because they've done that in every game. The problem with Newcastle, I've done them a couple of times the last couple of months, and I asked Eddie what is there to expect for this team? Are you a good team? Are you a bad team? Are you a top team? Are you a middle team? And he was quite honest, Eddie Howe, and he said, I don't know. I don't think Newcastle know what team they are this season. So, I mean, for the Arsenal fan, must be, I don't, Kieran, it's not a hope, it's a pray. It's a pray, that result. Hopefully that will happen, but it may happen at City.
I think there is a lack of consistency from everybody and all teams in Premier League this season. And maybe Arsenal is maybe the team we are the least of inconsistency this season. Is why we all believe that they would be capable of winning the Premier League easily, in a very easy way. But it's absolutely crazy what we are seeing lately. And the two past seasons, well, that last season before, the one season before, and this season, I'm sorry, but the level for me has dropped in a way that we can't find a race, we can't find consistency from any teams, and I'm quite worried for the Premier League. The Premier League is still the best one, but has to react to make sure the entertainment is good, the race is good, and the teams are all good.
Yes, we're going to
Frank,
let
I have to add to that.
Go on.
I have to add to that. Sorry, just quickly before I go, because, you know, the fact that they're still top of the league and, you know, it kind of says a lot about the rest of the Premier League. And I have to agree with Frank. We're looking at the bigger picture. Arsenal have been heavily criticised right now. Top of the Champions League, top of the Prem. I think it says more about where we are in football at the moment, to be honest.
Okay. All right, Kieran, we're going to let you go and say your
we won't take that discussion.
I'll leave you with that.
Big weekend ahead for you, Kieran. We'll speak to you soon. Thanks for joining
Look
us.
after yourself.
Thanks,
Look
guys.
after
Bringing
yourself,
your
Kieran.
positive Arsenal nature to the show.
Be safe.
Make sure to join us every single day on ESPN FC, especially this weekend, to see how it all plays out. Oh, it's not been a good week for the Italian sides in the Champions League. We know Napoli are already out, and then when it comes to the first leg playoff ties, Juventus, Inter and Atalanta all lost their games. Bodo Glimt with that big result against Inter, and then of course
that's a
Juve
good
as well.
comment there. Bodo shaming.
And Juve beaten 5-2 by Galatasaray. We want to hear once again from Jurgen Klinsmann with his take on it.
I already spoke to some friends in Milano. This is an earthquake for Italian football. Bodo Glimt, they are still in off-season. They haven't even started their season yet in Norway. The body language of the Inter players, that they were confronted with this high energy from Bodo Glimt, they didn't know what to do. And this is a disaster. It's a disaster for a club like Inter Milan in the knockout phase of the Champions League. If you want to win a game, you got to go and risk something, and you got to go and get the 3 points. For the Italians, tying the game, ending up with 1 point, is always still accepted. The top teams in Italy, we have to approach it like the rest of the world and say, we're going to go for 3 points. We want to win the game, and not basically just play for not losing the game. Tonight, this is a real tragedy for Italian football, as it was last night with Juventus at Galatasaray. I mean, this is unacceptable for Italians, conceding 5 goals in Turkey and 3 in Norway. They're getting real nightmares with the Norwegian, the Italians, because Norway kicked out, obviously, the Italian national team from qualifying directly to the World Cup. Italy has to go to the qualifiers at the end of March. and now comes Bodo Glimt and sends them home with a 3-1 package. I mean, they have nightmares about Norway.
And Paolo Di Canio has added some fuel to the fire and hit out at the Serie A team, saying our perception of Italian football is that we are phenomenal. Yet, Napoli play away at PSV and concede 6 goals. Inter conceded 5 goals in the Champions League final against PSG, but it could have been 10. There's a narration according to which Italian players could play for Manchester City. Who? Italian players have not been signed across Europe for 15 years, which means they are not considered up to the task. Slight fact check there in that Donnarumma is the starting goalkeeper for Manchester City, and that's a big and important position.
Right.
It's an Italian player.
But I think we get the message, though. and I think the big picture is that, and it's something that we have discussed in the show many times, is that for those of us that can remember the 90s and the 80s, I know people nowadays think of the 80s and the 90s as wow, a completely whole other universe. But yeah, there were the 80s and there were the 90s, and Italy and Italian football in particular was the top of the top, the best of the best. If you were among the best players in the world, that's where you wanted to go and play. And so to then see this contrast and this fall from grace, that it has been happening over time. We've seen it happening. We see how the trajectory of other leagues is going in a different direction, and Serie A haven't been able to keep up, haven't been able to keep up with infrastructure, haven't been able to keep up in terms of how they present their product, haven't been able to keep up in terms of how they develop their own players, how they nurture the Italian player. In all honesty, if you are to pick out an Italian player out there in the world that say, that guy, if we're putting an all 11 from all over the world, is there an Italian player in that team? Where there used to be 2, 3, 4, it's not the case now. And I'm not even talking about, okay, I'm not even leaving this to the elite teams and the best players. I think there is a very clear drop-off as to what Italian football used to be and what they are now. And they have been the last ones to recognize it. Some, I think, in some regards, because of their own arrogance in believing, oh, we're on top of the world. Nothing's happening. We don't want to see the truth. we don't want to see the truth around us. And the house is burning down. It's like, no, it's not on fire. It's all right. We're good. We're good. We got this. The rest of the world has taken off. Italy has stayed at a level in which now they're taking a step back, and now it's too far to catch up. And that's why we see the things that we see with the national team. That's why we see the things that we see with the club teams. And that's why Paolo Di Canio comes out and says what he says, because he's seeing the house on fire.
Frank?
Yeah, I cannot more agree with Ali than everything he said, and that's crazy because I played against Italian teams and I played with Italian players and I saw them, and the Italian league, the calcio, was amazing. Where on top of, as Ali said, you had fantastic Italian players. Everybody was going there. Jürgen Klinsmann, Lothar Matthaus, all the Dutch, Rijkaard, Van Basten, Gullit, and all the French, Desailly, Zidane, Deschamps, Trezeguet, Thuram, Bogossian. That was insane. This league was insanely the best in the world. And suddenly, after the 90s, in 2000s, 2001, it dropped like crazy. Everybody left to Spain or England, like Zola, Vialli, Di Matteo, for example, Italian players, but also Zidane, Deschamps going to Spain, so many others doing that. And the drop-off was crazy that for nowadays, for me, it's only the 5th league in the world or in Europe, you know, and it goes beyond the Ligue 1 for me. Because in the Ligue 1, you have players, French players, that everybody in the world still want. I can't name any Italian players where you say, ooh, that guy should go to Liverpool, Manchester United, City, Chelsea, or Real Madrid and Barcelona. I don't see anybody but Donnarumma. That's it.
Calafiori
that says a lot about the quality. Excuse me? Calafiori, yes, Calafiori, okay, but, well, you know what? Still Calafiori is still to prove me that he's still the top of the top, like we had Maldini. Come on, you want to compare? Okay, so that's what I'm saying. That I'm still not convinced with the players that I see. And look at the national team. Look the result of the national team. It says a lot. That wasn't even a debate before. It never happened. Italy was a threat to any national team. You knew that against Italy you had a problem. You don't have a problem anymore. So they have to look at themselves and correct the way they are thinking the football, because they drop like crazy.
Yeah, and let me come to you, because in Inter's defence, of the teams that we're seeing here, they're probably the most likely to turn things around with the attack that they've got, because Bodo Glimt has been a hellish ground for a number of big teams already. We've seen that.
Yeah, but I will take a myth. First of all, this is Bodo Glimt who went to Dortmund and played 2-2. This is the Bodo Glimt who went to Atletico Madrid and won the game. So this AstroTurf, cold, snowish kind of excuses, forget it. They have because they have deserved won this. And I was listening to Jürgen Klinsmann. Let's put it this way: the former Inter player and our colleague on ESPN, I got a message from him last night. He understood the nightmare quite early when he saw what was going on. And now it feels like the football train has left the station and Italy didn't know which time it went. They were just left on the perron. They were just standing there. And there is just, and when we went to Norway, that was in our qualification group. When we went down there and beat them 4-1, and I was sitting before the game, I knew Donnarumma was in goal, but I saw the rest of the team and I was thinking, who is playing for Italy now? I mean, back in the days, those were the best players. And Di Canio has a point, although I think that Donnarumma will be a candidate for any all-star team because he's a great goalkeeper. But who is there now? What's the next big thing from Italy? They always had a big talents. Where are they?
And to Jan's point, it's a World Cup year, right? And one of the things that we do during the World Cup is we collect the stickers, right, for the World Cup and the photo album of the World Cup teams. In World Cups from years past, let's go back 20 years, you would know every single player that was going to be in that Italian national team that was part of that photo album that you were collecting. You knew who they were, you knew where they played, you knew their trajectory, you knew what they had won, because that's how important and relevant they were in the landscape of world football. You cannot do the same with this Italian national team, assuming that they make it to the World Cup. Assuming that they make it to the World Cup. Which that in itself tells you where we are, that this is part of the conversation. We're no longer saying, well, for certain they're going to be in. No, let's see if they get through the qualification process, because Norway, when I say Norway kicked the backside of Italy, it was a whooping over 2 games. Well, you don't think that you carry that with you if you're Italy? And a team with that sort of history, you don't think you carry the failures from the past into the qualification playoff? You do. The pressure is on you. And so we assume that they're going to be in it, and that still doesn't change the fact that those players, you have Donnarumma here, maybe this guy over there. I'm supposed to get excited about Pio Esposito. Maybe I'll get excited about that guy sometime if he plays regularly, but he doesn't. Who am I going to get excited about? Chiesa, he doesn't play regularly in Liverpool. You brought Calafiori. He doesn't play regularly at Arsenal. Who am I getting excited about if I'm on Italy? Okay, all right. Who am I getting excited about?
Ramazzotti? He's a singer. He's a singer.
Yes, he's a singer.
Frank.
One thing that I want to say about Jan's comment about the football train, I have to tell you that I took the fast train in Italy. It's much better than the fast train in France. So that's something wrong. You know, you cannot compare.
We do have to bring up the financial pressure, though, don't we? Because they face more financial pressure now, which has come up. So the export of Italian talent has happened more. I looked back to see, in terms of transfers, Serie A teams have not been able to spend 75 million plus euros for a player since 2022, when Juve signed Vlahovic from within the league. So then you're losing talent like Victor Osimhen to teams that can pay a lot more money.
Yeah, but this goes along with something that Jan mentioned earlier, and Frank has alluded to it, and I mentioned it as well. It's not just about the players and the talent level within Serie A and the academy products and how you nurture and grow Italian players. It's not just about that. It's how you are presenting your product. It's the quality of the stadiums. It's everything that now is part of running a football team at the elite level. It's the suites in the stadium. It's how you present your team, how you actually sell your team at a corporate level. These are things that you now have to do in order to have the revenue to be able to keep these players. But if you watch Serie A, and we watch it, the way it is presented, it seems like the rest of the world is on high definition, 4K, ultra, something or other, and these guys are still stuck in the 1990s, in the 1980s. And
that's true.
So it's difficult to create an argument for Serie A unless they're willing to modernize and that they get rid of the red tape, because there's a lot of red tape in Italian politics within those stadiums, within those cities. They have to get rid of that in order to be able to modernize and be able to compete. Right now, they're not competing.
And it's a very good point, because I think there's a lot of things we discussed in football this week that is also a society problem, and it's a part of the building a nation, building the infrastructure of a nation. And look at what Germany has managed to do when they had the World Cup. Now they will get it again. They will renovate their stadium. If you go to any club the club I know best in Germany is, of course, my Eintracht Frankfurt. Eintracht Frankfurt is run fantastically. There is B2B project. They have the big sponsors. When I was there last time, they just made a 10 years deal with Deutsche Bank. I mean, man, that's the companies that want to associate with the football club. And in Italy, this has been going on for years, because in the 80s and the 90s and into the new century, they were able still with the money to kind of get them in there. But if you saw now, there was this Deloitte list of the most valuable clubs in the world. And then you have your likes of Sunderland there. You have West Ham. You have all these clubs. But the Italians, they getting longer and longer down on the list because there is no infrastructure. Look at the stadium. I mean, Juventus got a great stadium. They got a stage. They got a platform they can present football on. But if you want to compare with the Premier League, you have to compare with the stadiums, the infrastructure, the way you commercialize football. And that hasn't happened in England, in Italy. And this is the consequence.
Welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time. Ale, Jan and Frank are here to answer your questions.
Is this a watch party? Is this a watch discussion? Because you're going to a watch party.
Yes.
I like that headline, watch party. That's good.
Well, that's what we're going to do. We're going to watch and we're going to party,
Watch.
Jan.
Watch party. Yeah, I love it.
Jan, we'd love to have had you there, but no doubt you're off following Erling Haaland wherever he is.
Erling and Martin. The good thing about me is that I will get a Norwegian title winner in England, so that I'm happy. Aston Villa, they can't harm us, can they?
Look at that.
You know, he's on a high. Jan is on a high
Yeah,
with Norway.
yeah.
Norway's on a high right now. I don't know if it's going to get any better than this, but Norway, they're on a high.
All right. Okay. It's quite a serious one for the first one. Boys, should FIFA or UEFA rule against players covering their mouth in any way, shape or form when the ball is out of play and rule an immediate yellow card for said behaviour? So there have been some reports that they're looking into some type of banner on this, on covering your mouth if it comes to abuse, but obviously then you're looking at how can you prove that that's the case. This is what we're looking at right now. So what do you guys think of this?
That's not even that. Nowadays, players, when they talk, they all talk like that. So Ian, LA, we have to do. So it's already a lost situation. A lose situation where players, they do that. They can insult anybody doing that. So and they all talk like that because they don't want the media to see what they're talking about. So either they do that or they do that. They can insult anybody. So it's not going to work. It's useless.
Well, a lot of channels have lip readers, so you will understand that they will do, hello, how are you? But sometimes it looks a bit stupid. But this is, of course, a consequence of what happening this week, which was a very serious stuff. And I think everybody who's loved football, we were very, very sad because all of us has been in a dressing room, and the dressing room was always a platform for respect, platform for everything, religion, nationality, skin color, and all those kind of things. So this is a consequence, but I don't think this rule will solve the main problem that they're gonna do yellow card for this one. I'm not sure about that one.
The main problem is addressing education and ignorance as it pertains to racism. That still reigns in some places around the world, and for some players around the world that still feel it's okay to do it and utilize it. That's the part that should be addressed. This right here, we could be saying, hey, are you going to watch party with us or not? I mean, it's how do you?
But Al,
go ahead.
I would just want to say now, it's quite interesting to discuss this, because sometimes racism is a problem in the society. And for us who love football, and again, start with that dressing room again, I love football, that we respect each other no matter what, you know? And that's why it's so sad it's happening there. But when you see the governing bodies, when they want to do something against it, you always get a feeling that they kind of try to do everything that's not working. Try to do something that is working. Education is one thing of it, yes. When you've seen in different games, when the crowds are going ballistic in the racial behavior, empty the stadium, do something, you know? But then they're ending up with, this is the one, okay.
Yeah,
noted.
The hand over your mouth, it's going to be impossible to legislate. And it's going to be impossible to somehow punish a player when you don't really know what he's actually saying. It's just not going to happen. They're only doing this to Frank's and Jan's point. They're only doing this because, well, Prestiani happened to be covering his mouth, and so, well, that's a thing that we're going to have to address. I think it goes beyond that. The problem is much bigger than just covering your mouth.
Exactly. Hallelujah.
Okay, guys, which transfer this summer do you think was the smartest move?
Oh, you know what I would say? What will Jan say? What will Jan say? Florian Wirtz. In a long term,
no
comment. I don't want to say anything.
Jan, I think you might say Granit Xhaka.
Yeah, Xhaka in terms of the influence on the short term, what he's done for. Yeah, that was okay. Sorry, Frank. Go ahead.
All right.
I would just end my Florian Wirtz thing because I think.
Yeah.
No, I won't stay late. I think that was a great argument, Frank. No, I will give it that to you, Frank. But I will just mine is Florian Wirtz because I think in the long term he will be very, very influential player for Liverpool. Please, Frank.
Yeah, sorry, Frank.
Sorry. That was my choice because it took me like 45 minutes to decide who I'm going to pick. So I thought about Ekitike, but Ekitike does well, but the way that Liverpool plays, that doesn't suit me. But when I saw Granit Xhaka going to Sunderland, I really wonder why he was going there, because after what he did for Arsenal, then Leverkusen, I say, maybe that's not good. The guy has been a leader, the skipper of that team, and Sunderland has surprised everybody. And it's why I picked Granit Xhaka, because he showed to the world that he's a real talented player.
Good pick.
I'm going to throw out a name that I don't know if it's smartest move or not. I'm not looking in the long term. I'm looking right now, and what my eyes are seeing, and it's Luis Diaz and how much of a difference he has made at Bayern Munich.
Well done.
It's a player that some may have considered to be a risk, not really. And what he brings to Bayern Munich is so different than everybody else in that team, especially when Jamal Musiala was injured. Jamal Musiala can do certain things that go off script because of the individual talent. But when he wasn't available, You look at Luis Diaz, and he is a tactical nightmare to defend against because you don't know where he's going to appear. You don't know what he's about to do because there are no trends to his game. And you know why there are no trends to his game? Because he doesn't know what he's about to do. He's chaotic in the way that he plays, and in doing that, he creates chaos defensively and creates a whole lot of movement for Bayern Munich. And it's not only movement, it's also productivity. I'll take Luis Diaz.
Nice, good stuff, guys.
Kay, sorry, I didn't have the last answer. So you picked the same name, Ian? With Granit Xhaka?
No,
We picked
Florian
both the
Wirtz.
same
Florian
player?
Wirtz.
Wirtz.
Florian Wirtz.
Florian Wirtz. Okay.
I think long term.
Wow,
I think long term.
Notable mentions, Zubimendi, Joan Garcia, few possible options there.
We could only mention one.
I know, and I don't want to mention Franks again.
No, please.
Right.
He was very emotional about Granit Xhaka. That's mine! It's mine!
I've been thinking for 45 minutes. 45 minutes.
45 minutes to find somebody. Come on,
For Jan, when Haaland lifts another Premier League title, will you be more overjoyed for him or sad for Odegaard? #Bottlers FC.
Wow.
I will be very happy for Haaland and very sad for Martin Odegaard.
That sounds a bit double agent to me.
Well, what about it?
Yeah,
Well
but I am
well
a
done.
dog.
What a
I
risk.
am-
What a good answer.
I am a bad in terms of these two because I would love to see them both do that. I must admit that Erling has won the league, so I would love to see the captain of Arsenal, the Norwegian, lift the trophy. I would love to see Martin do that, but I would be happy for both of them. You know, as a Norwegian, as Al is saying, for us Norwegian, we are 5 million people, and at the moment now when it's snowing and we have the Winter Olympics and Bodø/Glimt, you feel that we run the world. So I must apologize for that. I'm being a bit high at the moment.
Yeah, it's a good moment for the Norwegians. If Liverpool had a wish list for the most natural replacement for Salah in the summer, who would be topping that list? Michael Olise, Jan Diomande, or any other names that come to mind? You said yes, Frank.
Yeah, well, come on, Michael Olise. He has proven since he left Crystal Palace that he's a world-class player, had no issues whatsoever to settle down in the Bundesliga, in Bayern, with the pressure that you can have in that club. And his finesse, his consistency made him one of the best players in this position. So yeah, that would be for me a clear choice if I was a Liverpool board.
The problem is you won't get him. I mean, you can dream. Now is my old. Is this the time when I say?
List. It's a wish list.
This is always the time at the extra time that I say that I want Jennifer Aniston. This is my moment.
Well, that took a turn.
No, that's my wish list. But so they won't get Olise. So
Mrs. Fjordhoft, we love you.
Yeah, she's in the mountain skiing. So that's why I can say.
She might just stay there.
No, she knows. She knows about Jennifer.
Oh my God.
So what you're saying is sometimes you can only hope and only dream and wish.
Don't the Americans understand that some Norwegian would like to... no, I don't say anything. But they won't get Olise.
Yeah, and I don't think you're going to get Jennifer Aniston either.
Wait, what?
I think there's a bigger chance. There's a bigger chance that I will get Jennifer than Liverpool will get Olise.
Well...
What about Dembele? What about Dembele?
What about Rachel?
Wow.
Right. Shall I just ask the next question?
You're up on the news, though. Is Jennifer Aniston available?
I don't know. Her personal
I thought you were.
I'm not even. I don't know.
She's got a clause in her contract.
Okay, well then. Because Olise is not available, so.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, but I don't see
either
Jennifer
way.
on the right side.
100 million euro. 100 million euro.
Okay. Moving on. For the Bundesliga brothers of Jan and Ale. Never heard them called that before, but I like it.
That's a good. I mean, I can live with that.
Are Dortmund going under the radar this year? They've only lost one game in the Bundesliga. They're 6 points off the top, and they're doing well in the Champions League. Could they have an underdog's chance of winning one of these competitions, like in the 22-23 and the 23-24 season?
please, Dortmund, can you please win in Leipzig now? So we'll have a proper Klassiker where you really have a chance. You know, I'm a big fan of Niko Kovac, and sometimes we like to put in him a draw that he will say that he's this and that, it's just discipline and he's just good in defense. But he's done a fantastic job at Dortmund. And you know, they had this terrible habit of winning football games. That must be one of the best habits you can have as a football coach, by the way. So hopefully there's going to be a tough weekend now because, as you were saying in the program, they're playing Frankfurt at home, Bayern. They will be favorites there, and Dortmund will have a tricky game in Leipzig. But can you imagine that we could have a title race in Germany? That would be fantastic.
And Dortmund would be surprised if indeed they go to their Klassiker with a chance to actually tie the top of the league. And let's not forget that their Klassiker is at home for Borussia Dortmund. So you can make an argument. This is what I would say about Dortmund and Niko Kovac, in particular Niko Kovac. What you see from Borussia Dortmund lately, I would say over the last couple of months, is something that we haven't always seen from this team. And dare I say, toughness. I'm seeing a team that has some toughness about them, that has some strength about them, that has some personality and a clear identity. It doesn't mean that they're going to go on and win all the matches that they need to win. But at the very least, you can watch this team and say, this is what they want to do, this is how they're going to do it, and they're mentally tough enough to do it. The problem is that they've given themselves too much work because in the earlier part of the season, they wasted too many points and too many unnecessary draws. And they allowed Bayern Munich to feel like they were running away with it. Bayern Munich has dropped a couple of points here and there, and that allowed Dortmund to kind of get in the picture. But if they're going to be fully in the picture, like Jan just mentioned, they have to do something against Leipzig, win that match, and then put some pressure on Bayern Munich.
And they're going to be at home. We're going to be in LA for it, though.
Watch party. Watch party.
Oh, look at that. The Klassiker's watch party.
Again,
Still, we're not there.
Where's our picture?
We will be there with Ovo and Klinsmann, but we're not important enough.
We're not cool enough. We're not cool enough.
No. I've heard if you put your telephone to the QR code, it's a picture of you two. I've heard that now. That's just breaking news.
Oh, thanks, Jan. Hope so. Well, we will be there. Trust me. Okay, Ale, what are your season predictions for the MLS,
Well, when in doubt, an oldie but a goodie, you always have to go forever and ever with Inter Miami. For the foreseeable future, still Inter Miami, still Lionel Messi. There are other storylines in MLS this season. We have to imagine that LAFC will be part of the conversation. The Vancouver Whitecaps, who were a young team last year, Thomas Muller, of course, with the Vancouver Whitecaps. That experience of going into the finals, is that an experience that they now can take into this season and make yet another run and replicate the performance from last year? You have to imagine that the LA Galaxy would be much better this season than what they were last season. They had a horrendous season. And I feel as if though the LA Galaxy is one of the important brands in Major League Soccer. So it's important for the league, for the Galaxy to be competitive. My Columbus crew, they'll be part of the conversation as well. And shout out to Bundesliga and German players. Timo Werner is now with the San Jose Earthquakes. I don't know that people realize that Timo Werner is not even 30 years old yet. He turns 30 in March. And there he is, or here he is with the San Jose Earthquakes. We'll see what kind of signing he turns out to be. But if Timo Werner shows up and is interested and is engaged and is confident, he should be a player that should be making a difference in Major League Soccer.
Interesting times. Who's the funniest person in the ESPN FC crew?
Wow.
Can I say today that I had a meeting with the head of communication of the Norwegian Football Association, and she used to work with Stevie at New England. That was fantastic. That was fantastic. And I said, and it was so good, and she spoke so highly of him. But she was wondering when he went going into media that how could people understand him. Because she was struggling and she was doing the communication there, but she spoke so highly of Stevie, and she said he was so good on TV. So I hoped he was on tonight so that I could say hello from her. But I would say Stevie but he doesn't know that himself.
Yeah, Frank.
I'm gonna go with Dan. because Dan is very sarcastic and he's a funny English guy, you know, and I love him for that. I hate him sometimes for that, but I mostly love him for that.
Yeah, they can both make you laugh out loud, but in different ways, as you guys are saying. One of them's very cheeky and one of them doesn't even realize that he's going to make you laugh out loud on a daily basis.
And that's the genius of Stevie, that he doesn't even know why he's being funny, and yet he is. There is no better laugh in our show than Shaka's.
That is
True.
And nobody makes you feel funnier than Shaka when
Also
Shaka is
true.
next to you on the show. You can say what could potentially be considered a joke, and Shaka feels like, or makes you feel like it's the best joke that has ever been told. So I would suggest that it's great to work alongside Shaka.
Good point.
Yeah,
Good point.
it's actually great
Ali,
to work alongside
Ali,
everyone. Go on, Frank.
Ali, I you're not far away from the top of the top, you know. You crack me up at some point, you know. You're a funny guy.
Well, thank you. I wish my lovely wife would feel the same way, Frank. I wish
Well,
that.
that's none of my business. I'm sorry about that.
For
I
Lent,
wish that Jennifer Aniston would feel that,
Well,
but that's another.
I'll tell
my
you.
God.
Just a sort of behind-the-scenes look into my family. You know, for Lent, you're supposed to give up something,
Yep.
right? And so I was considering giving up meat, or giving up this, or giving up that. And she goes, instead of giving up, why don't you add something to your life? And I said, what is that, babe? Patience. I'm like, somehow
Okay.
so now apparently that's what I'm.
Okay, I'll keep you in check and report back.
Is this a time when we talk about our marriage? Okay, now Frank, you start, please.
Just
Well,
saying.
I have patience is also my issue, and my wife asked me a lot about patience. No, that's true. That's true.
I know this
What about
program
you,
is called
Jan?
extra.
Well,
I
you
know
think-
this program is called Extra Times, but we don't have time for all the issues.
No. Let's not talk about Jan's marital
No, we
issue,
best
because Jennifer is creating a wedge. It's creating a separation in this marriage.
No, it's more Rachel. I must admit, it's more Rachel.
It's more Rachel. But it's the haircut, is it? Jan?
Yeah, it's everything. I mean, in Friends. I mean, you know.
No one told you life was going to be this way.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Guys, you are all great to work with, but nobody cracks me up like Stevie Nicol. Yep. But you all make me laugh a lot, I have to say. You're brilliant.
But that's one of the strengths of this program. A friend of mine, I talked to a friend just when I came on, and he said, "What kind of program do you do?" And that laugh, and that we are able to be very serious, but still have a crack of a joke, and English humor, tough humor, a bit bullying, a bit friendly bullying. That's what I love with this show. So that is the answer to that. I think.
Yeah, it's just those nights out where it goes another level up. Okay, but we won't talk about those.
I wouldn't know about that, okay? I don't know what you're talking about.
We all agree that we are funny. Okay.
Jan, can you
Yes.
stop with the Norway tweets, please?
Oh, I love that. I know people hate that. For those who don't know that, I mean, we have 16 gold by the Winter Olympics, and I always write the same. Just I change the numbers and the number of gold medals, and I know people feel that is a bit, yeah.
You know what, Jan? What you can't see there
you
is they did
know.
actually put a smiley emoji when they put it onto Twitter.
No. I know.
They're just
I
having
know
a
that.
bit of a laugh with you.
I know they love it, and I know we are Vikings. So we are used to that. 1,000 years ago, the whole world belonged to us. So this isn't. We didn't know about this exactly, Frank. When we had Normandy, by the way, that was Norway.
Yes. That's why I'm a Viking too, because I'm from Normandy. So I'm part of the family.
We
So
are relatives.
Keep on bragging.
We are
Keep on-
relatives. Yeah.
Exactly. Keep on bragging, my friend.
And where,
That's okay.
If they're relative, where the hair DNA go then? Huh?
Oh, you don't want to know.
Diluted
You don't
along
want to
the
know.
way.
Ali, we don't want to talk about it. It's too early.
Somehow the strand of hair went in Jan's direction.
Yeah.
But that is but fantastic. But you come from Normandy. When you told me before, but I wasn't aware of that now when I came into that sentence, but those are the toughest Norwegian Vikings. Those were the forefathers to William the Conqueror who went to England. So that is also the Norwegians. That belong also to us in the Normandies. Thank you.
Okay.
Exactly.
Thank you for a history lesson.
I'll tell you what, I can guarantee you, no Vikings in Venezuela, so...
Oh.
Jan,
For
have you
sure.
been to the Viking Centre in York, in England?
Absolutely. With my granddad, we were going from Middlesbrough down and saw that. So it's fantastic.
Yeah.
So I won't start telling what the Vikings did 1,000 years ago.
Yeah, I don't think we should go there either.
No, we shouldn't go there.
Okay. Jan, what has been more impressive, Norway in the Olympics or Bodo Glimt?
Bodo Glimt. Because you kind of in cross country, we have a guy called Johannes Klæbo, who is 1 in 5, and there's one race yet, and he's fantastic. He's unbelievable. But to have a team living next door to Santa Claus, have an AstroTurf 2 months since they played their last competitive game in the league, 1.5 months before our league starts. A small club with the stand behind one of the goals are apartments, beating Inter. I mean, they were in the final last season, and we beat Manchester City. You saw I went into we there, and we beat Atletico Madrid away. So I have to say Bodo Glimt.
So I have to imagine, and I just come to this conclusion now, that Johannes Klæbo was the same guy that was wearing the fish outfit that was running after Jan. Had to have been. Had to have been.
Could there be, if there was an Olympics race in running away from a fish, there would be...
I would have lost it.
Jan would not make the podium, no.
He would not. But to be honest, I was just trying to stall a bit of time just in case we had it accidentally to press play on, but I don't think we did. It's never not funny, let's be honest.
No.
It's always brilliant. Okay, yes. Jan and the fish. All right, guys, thank you so much for sending in your questions. Some nice ones today. We will be back tomorrow on Extra Time to do it all over again.
Bye-bye.